Vampires in white? Merfolk in green? Pirates? Dinosaurs? A guest host? Ixalan Spoiler Day! Hello everybody, welcome back to Commanding Magic. It's Season 2, it's Episode 10, it's Ixalan Spoiler Day, and it's a special day for other reasons than that, because we have a guest host today. Please everybody, give a like and a comment and a subscribe for Rob of I went and hung out with him at HasCon fame.
It was a fun time, it really was.
Like total chance encounter. It was one of those things, like I talked about it on my kind of decompression episode that we recorded the other day. And just hanging out with a group of people, just kind of getting a feeler on who you think you can really hang out with. I think it worked out. You know what I mean? When you hang out in a situation like a convention, you hang out with a lot of people. And some people you can just tell that you can kind of jive with a little bit more than others, you know? So it was a good time. So Rob, you doing good?
I'm doing great.
He's doing great. He's excited to be here. And you know who else is excited to be here? Brandon.
I'm doing okay. I'm just here, you know.
Guys, it's exciting. It's Ixalan Spoiler Day.
I know, right?
I mean, if we hadn't had so much stuff going on, realistically, we probably would have had... We prefer to do 2 episodes to go over like a whole set, but it just hasn't worked out these past couple sets, so...
Yeah. Maybe for Rivals of Ixalan, we'll see.
Oh,
or
yeah.
No, hell. We'll have Unstable first. And then we got to talk about Iconic Masters at some point. We've got a lot of stuff.
Oh my god, dude, I don't even talk about that. Dude, Rob, how do you feel about Iconic Masters? How do you feel about those seeded packs that we were getting? Those definitely, absolutely seeded packs.
I mean, when you have 10 people at a table and 6 of them pull Mana Drain, the big mythic, I'm going to go with they're pretty seeded. And as for what I thought about them, they were pretty amazing. Everything from Flusterstorm to Mana Drain. It's just fun to do channel Fireball somebody in Limited 2. I mean, so much greatness about it. So,
yeah, it was just super funny throughout the weekend to just hear so many people pulling that Mana Drain. So, you know. It's whatever. But that's neither here nor there because HasCon has come and gone, and it's time for Ixalan spoilers. And right off the bat, let's go into everybody's favorite, except mine, Planeswalker, Jace.
Not my favorite.
Good.
I don't like neither.
Good. Okay, good. I'm glad we're all in agreement here. See, look, I knew you'd fit in, Rob, because Jace is a freaking chump, and he's just alone on an island now, so good freaking riddance. Anyway.
He's falling off of a waterfall, so...
Falling off of a waterfall. How did that happen?
I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe, though, with this Mind Wipe, maybe he'll be less of a horrible character.
See, that's kind of what I'm hoping. I'm hoping this is the breath of fresh air that they needed for Jace. Because I just feel like he's been the same guy for so long. And just, I mean, even in this, like, by the art for Jace Cunning Castaway, you can see that he's changed his look a little bit. And, I don't know, I think it looks pretty good, and I think it's a good opportunity for some solid character development, some real soul-searching. I don't know. Am I making sense?
Yes.
All right.
So I think before we talk about the card himself,
I
think we need to talk about the new rules change.
All right.
What's legendary Planeswalkers?
Yeah, what's the new rules change, Brandon? Tell us.
So, you know how currently you can only have one Jace out. If you play a Jace, Balerion, you can't have a Jace the Living Guild pack out at the same time.
Okay.
One of them has to stay, the other has to go.
All right,
so
then.
Now, you can have every Jace that's ever been printed on the field at once. That's how the rules change works.
Just because they're now unique.
Exactly.
They're unique now. So
you don't... I believe Wizards' goal was to try and eliminate some confusion in how legendary or just Planeswalkers are so different than legendaries, I guess.
Uh-huh.
Doesn't make sense. I
mean,
mean,
how do you feel about this rule, Rob?
I feel like in Commander having 6 Lilianas on the field together probably is not the best idea they've ever had, but I like the flavor that they're bringing to Commander with the fact that like certain decks, like I don't know, mono white with Gideon, can actually get more than one of them out at a time.
You think it's like one of those things where they kind of had to like where they made the call and were thinking to themselves at the same time, maybe this isn't going to be the absolute 100% best choice for all formats, but just because of the way that rules work, they decided to make it go that way.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Because you can't change a rule just based on one format.
Yeah, I can agree with you on that. You kind of have to
just
make
like
sure
when
that
the legendary creature change happened, to where each side of the table or each player could have the same legendary permanent, except for when it used to be you played in the legendary and then both blew up.
Yeah, and it's funny because that actually changed something that had been going on for a long time, because like that was back kind of like in the like it was either during or just after the kind of the heyday of Jace the Mind Sculptor being, oh my god, it's Jace the Mind Sculptor, except now because now people couldn't run Baby Jace to counter Big Jace. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Because you would play your let's take it in context of today. Let's just say Atraxa. You had two Atraxa decks playing against each other. You would be trying to cast your Atraxa to get rid of their Atraxa, so they wouldn't get ahead on board or whatever.
Yeah, this is an interesting rule change. I'm really curious to see how it goes, and that's what I'm going to say on that. Go for it.
Caveating back to the original rule change, though, I think the big reason why they did it was also because they needed to bring something new and fresh to formats like Standard and everything with their Planeswalkers, because there were people in Standard who would be literally sitting there with multiple Planeswalkers in hand and can't play any of them because they already have, let's say, a Gideon in field and they have the other Gideon in hand. They don't want to blow up their own Gideon to get it out. And as long as this rule doesn't evolve into any commander or any planeswalker can be a commander, I think this rule won't be too hindrance.
All right, and see, that's awesome. You have a little bit more of an insight onto Standard than we do, so I feel like this is going to be really good. So as far as Jace Cunning Castaway goes, Brandon, why don't you take us through this? Tell us about him. Tell us what he does.
All right, so he is a 1 blue, 3 loyalty legendary planeswalker. His first ability, +1, whenever one or more creatures you control deals combat damage to a player this turn, draw a card, then discard a card.
All right, then.
Okay. -2, create a 2/2 blue illusion creature token with, when this creature becomes the target of a spell, sacrifice it. It's just a spell, not ability.
Yeah, so that's interesting. That's a little bit different from some of the illusion kind of caveats that we've seen in the past.
So I started reading that, and I was wanting to say ability afterwards, but it doesn't say that.
Yeah.
So
the times are changing, Brandon.
Yeah, right? And -5, so this is a very low minus cost.
Yeah.
Create 2 tokens that are copies of Jace Cunning Castaway, except they are not legendary.
So... Okay. What does this mean? If you have 3 Jaces in play, let's just say we're playing on the idea that you haven't ultimated him multiple times or anything,
right?
And that you've just done it once. So what do you do though after you ultimate him? What do you do? What's like the kind of plan of attack for your copies of him? You know what I mean?
Play Atraxa.
Very good. Just so
I guess you just.
Do you make a bunch of illusions? Oh, okay. So you think you just keep +1 and +1ing. So I guess it says whenever one or more creatures you control deals combat damage to player, you draw cards. So okay, yeah. I mean, so we go up to like what? Draw 3 cards, discard 3 cards.
Yeah.
Oh my word,
yeah.
That seems pretty crazy.
And then blue-black, control. I'm sure you got ways to use shit in your graveyard.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to Dominaria after Ixalan's done.
Oh yeah. So for as far as Standard goes, Rob, do you think that there's going to be some sort of like Super Friends build now that this is going to be a thing?
We're losing the majority of the really good Planeswalkers, so I do think maybe we might see him in play. However, as of right now, it looks like the only deck he's really going to fit in is Merfolk's. So, but I too soon. I need to see what people start making. But as of right now, with the red aggro that's out there, he's going to hit field and die next turn. So
Exactly.
there's not really a good way to keep him alive.
So you think just the way that the meta is, it's a little too aggressive?
Yes.
Okay, very interesting. So, Jace, Cunning Castaway, be ready, because he's coming. um, next up, Axis of Mortality. Rob, why don't you take us through this one, since you actually brought up a good ruling type thing for this card.
Yeah, so we've been trying to tackle this one for the last day or two to try to figure this out. Axis of Mortality, it's 4 colorless and then 2 white mana. And it's an enchantment, and it states, at the beginning of your upkeep, you may have 2 target players exchange life totals. Now, the ruling question we had is, let's say in Commander you had someone with 10 life and somebody with 40 life. And you play Erebos the turn before, and then you go to your upkeep the next turn.
Mm-hmm.
Would mean that if you swap their life totals, they'd both become 10. The answer we found is yes, it would, which makes it even better in Commander. Because if there's anything that states players can't gain life, which there's quite a bit of, you pretty much are making everyone go to the lowest life total out of everyone.
Yeah,
You also
so
put a big target on your back.
I guess that the biggest thing here, I think, was that we weren't sure if exchanging life totals counted as gaining life.
Which
and
it does.
From what we were able to find, it does. So as far as Commander, I mean, I think there's a lot of cards, a lot of these quote unquote powerful mythic cards. There's a definitely a group of Commander players that will be super into something like this. As far as Brandon and I go, maybe not so much, but is this something that you would consider playing, Rob?
Probably with something like Phyrexian Unlife, just because.
Okay, fair enough. So yeah, I mean, other than that, I think this card doesn't really necessarily do too terribly much. Like, am I wrong? Am I wrong?
I mean, it's definitely something you can combine with certain cards, but again, you're playing Commander. You've got to go through 99 cards to get the
Yeah,
2
so
cards.
it's kind of something that you have to kind of.
It's a flavorful card for black-white control is really what it amounts to.
Okay, very good. Gotcha.
It's also a 6-mana enchantment that doesn't do anything when you play it. So, how many turns do you got to go through before?
Oh yeah, so that is another thing. There's like that little bit of delay, you know.
Yep.
So, as soon as you play that, they're going to come for you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's actually pretty interesting. I actually didn't really think about that.
We talked about plenty of things that in what was it? Aether Revolt, I think. Plenty of things that came in and did nothing.
Yeah, that impacted stuff not right away, and that's kind of something that I generally try to steer clear from, just because I'm more of a fan of instant gratification, I guess. So
Yeah.
that's kind of my stance on that.
Yeah. I'll just go as far as to say he's so much better than Magus of the Mirror, but maybe not, like, he's just flavorful.
Okay, fair enough. Sounds good. So, Brandon, tell us about Boneyard Parley.
Why do I have to talk about it?
Because I want you to.
Fine. So it's 5 black for a sorcery. Exile up to 5 target creature cards from graveyards, and opponent separates those cards into 2 piles. Put all cards of those piles into your choice onto the battlefield under your control, and the rest into their owners' graveyards.
So it's like a fact or fiction, but for creatures
7.
from your graveyard.
Yeah?
So what does that mean? Is that interesting?
I don't know.
I don't think it's something that I would really play, but I can see like definitely having it as something that a graveyard interaction type strategy might consider. Maybe.
I mean,
Is
you
it good
wouldn't
enough?
run this in Sidisi?
Maybe. It's hard to say. It's really hard to say at this point.
I don't even think Marin would run it.
You say what?
I don't even think Marin would run it.
Just because of your just like essentially exiling stuff, or wait, no. Into 2 possible cards on a show, and the rest into their ownership. Okay, so it's weird because it doesn't even get things out of graveyards because they stay there.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah.
I think this is one of those cards. It's like, yeah, sure, we're going over it, but at the same time, I think it remains to be seen what the actual power level of this is going to be.
I do want to note something.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pile of your choice, not their choice.
Oh, so your opponent separates it into 2 piles.
And then you get to pick.
Yes.
So
So
interesting.
that does make it a little more useful, but still don't know if it's actually useful.
Right. So I think this might be one of those ones that we just kind of have to wait and see.
Yeah.
As far as red cards grow.
Grow?
Oh my gosh. Red cards grow. Where the red cards grow? We have Rowdy Crew. 4 mana for a 3/3 human pirate, and this is pirate, so pirates are going to be a thing in this set, so get ready. So
yeah.
4 for a 3/3 with trample. However, when it enters the battlefield, draw 3 cards, then discard 2 cards at random. If 2 cards that share a card type are discarded this way, put 2+1/+1 counters on this guy. I don't know, man. Seems a little risky to me.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Not really.
Yeah. I think we could just move on.
Yep.
Best is a 4-drop 5/5 with trample. Oh, congratulations.
Yeah. So next up we have Carnage Tyrant, a card that I'm actually pretty stoked about. Because I love the mono green beats, and I'm super into the idea of dinosaurs this set. So at 6, we have a 7/6 that can't be countered and has trample, and it has hexproof. I think this card's going to be awesome in the dinosaur deck. It's going to be awesome in aggro strategies for green. But I feel like this card is also going to be awesome in standard. I'm going to hand it off to Rob with this one to kind of give his thoughts on it.
Okay, so in standard with the concept that we've got going on right now, which is treasures, which we'll get to here in a minute, there is a lot of ramp to be had, and theoretically, they're looking at builds that can crank Carnage Tyrants out consistently turn 4. Now, to put that in perspective, that means 4 turns into the game when your opponent probably has 1 or 2 creatures, dropping a 7/6 trampling hexproofer that blue can't stop. That's kind of terrifying in a lot of ways.
It really is. So go ahead.
So I think it's going to really find a home with the new Nissa, is the theory people have, just because Nissa can back it as well.
So would you say, so this card, would you say that the impact is going to be higher in Commander or in Standard? You think that in Commander this might just be another big beater that you could put in your deck, and then at Standard this actually might be one of the breakout cards that's going to end up seeing a lot of play?
Yeah, this card's going to be valuable money-wise just because it's Standard. This card's probably going to become a green staple for Finisher. No matter what deck it is, if it has green in it, it will probably be in there. Especially if you're running Dinosaurs, and the fact there's banner effects for Dinosaurs, it just gets ridiculous.
Yeah, it just gets even better. So yeah, I feel like that's some pretty good insight on that. Carnage Tyrant. So keeping on the dinosaur train, Rob, how about you go across and talk about Awakening Sun's Avatar?
Okay, so Awakening Sun's Avatar is 5 colorless and 3 white, and it's a creature dinosaur avatar. When Awakening Sun's Avatar enters the battlefield, you cast it from your hand, destroy all non-dinosaur creatures, and it's a 7/7.
So in Commander, I think that this is going to be great in the dinosaur deck, and even maybe just as a large body that you play that blows everything up and kind of resets the board a little bit. But is this something in Standard that just kind of gets run as like a one-of in some decks?
I don't know.
When do you get to 8 mana in Standard?
What was that?
When do you get to 8 mana in Standard?
With this set, you're going to be able to get there. But the problem that I see is that blue has a really nice new counterspell that I think any blue player is going to be running. And I just don't know if it's worth taking the chance of dropping that 8 or 9 drop right now in Standard to get that, wipe the field sort of effect. So maybe I think it'll be a sideboard card.
Okay.
if that makes sense.
So you think that it might be maybe too much of an investment in standard to risk like spending all that mana, or possibly by extension a whole turn's worth of interactions just to try to do this? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I think it's going to be more of a sideboard card than it's going to be a standard card, because 2 matchups would be really bad if that's kind of your like reliant game changer.
Mm-hmm.
Red aggro is going to run you over before you get anywhere close to 8 mana, and blue's just going to counter it and laugh at you. So
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a pretty fair assessment. Anything to add on to that, Brandon?
Nope.
All right. Overflowing Insight. This card is a little polarizing as far as I can tell. At least at HasCon, there was some interesting back and forth about it, specifically talking about Commander. Brandon, what's Overflowing Insight?
So it is a 7 mana sorcery, draw 7 cards. Target player draws 7 cards.
So I guess the first thing that we have to kind of address here is that it's sorcery speed.
Yep.
Okay. So you think that... I think that really takes away a lot of the functionality, or just the utility of the card, not necessarily the functionality. But in Commander, do you think there's just better ways of drawing cards?
Yep.
yeah.
100%.
So
Even
yeah. Go ahead.
Even in standard right now, there are better cards to draw cards than this one, such as if we go back to Amonkhet, Pull from Tomorrow, X and 2 blue, which will still be standard legal after the cycle. I'm drawing 7 cards for 9 mana, and then discard the card, but I'm doing it at instant speed on the end of their turn.
So, for instance, would you say that the overall benefit by like what you're doing during your turn versus like a tempo sort of play, that paying the 9 mana and netting yourself 7 cards, right, altogether? Or no, 5 cards, because it's 2 and X?
You're netting 6 cards, and you're pitching one that you don't want. So basically, you draw 7, hope there's a land in there, because if you've got 9 land, you can play anything in standard right now, and pitching that land.
Right. So you think that just tempo-wise, that using that... What was that card?
Pull from Tomorrow.
Pull from Tomorrow. So overall, tempo-wise, Pull from Tomorrow is the better pick here, just because you can play it during your opponent's turn when you have left your mana up for counter spells or bounce spells, what have you, as opposed to using up essentially your whole turn to draw 7 cards and opening yourself up to possibly having to discard a hand size and other things like that.
And then being able to play something. And also the other thing about Pull from Tomorrow that makes it strictly better, in my opinion, is the fact that sometimes you don't need 7 cards. Maybe you need 2 or 3.
Okay.
And Pull from Tomorrow can adjust to that. However, Overflowing Insight is strictly 7 for 7. Let's say you get stuck at 5 mana and you need more mana. You can play Pull from Tomorrow on your opponent's end step to draw 3 cards at that point.
All right. Yeah, that's sound logic to me. Anything else on that, Brandon?
Nope.
Tell us about Dire Fleet Ravager, Brandon.
Dire Fleet Ravager is a 3/2 black orc pirate wizard.
All right. What a creature type.
Right. He's 4/4 menace death toucher. When Dire Fleet Ravager enters the battlefield, each player loses 1/3 of his or her life rounded up.
1/3.
1/3.
What an interesting amount of life to lose.
Tell you what, anything that's blocking this guy, though, I feel bad.
Yeah, and he has menace. So like menace and death touch is a pretty brutal thing.
Yep.
I mean, this, like, it's weird to say it, but this card goes in the wizard deck.
Yep.
Like as far as Commander goes, like, and I'm sure that other decks that run black can justify running this guy anyway, just because the value just seems to be there. Like each by losing 1/3 of their life, it's not necessarily a bad thing, because I think the thing that a lot of people do, especially newer players, is that they conserve their life total at all costs, which really is not something that you need to do.
And I mean, he's in black. He's in the perfect colors for graveyard recursion.
Does any implications for standard, Rob?
As of right now, I don't think he's gonna be run that much in standard, just because I lie. He's a pirate and a wizard, so there is to be had in tribal. But due to the fact that we're going to lose a lot of recursion, and the fact you also have to pain yourself to play him in standard for about 7 life, assuming we're still at starting life totals.
Okay.
Doesn't feel like a good play.
So I guess like if you're strictly ahead in the life total game, it might be worth it. But otherwise, it just kind of depends on the matchup whether or not you want to be taking your own life total down so much.
Yes, I feel like it's too situational to be run as a more than one or two of in a standard deck.
Fair enough. I could see that. I think it almost feels like this was supposed to be like the Phyrexian Obliterator, Abyssal Persecutor type mythic of this set for black. You know what I mean?
I mean, I think we need another Phyrexian Obliterator, but that's just me.
Yeah, that's just you. No, I'm sure there's plenty of other people. The card that makes me worry for the next set is Star of Extinction, because well,
this isn't a story card.
let me just go over it real quick. 7 mana, sorcery, destroy target land. Star of Extinction deals 20 damage to each creature and each planeswalker. So it doesn't deal it to each player. Very good thing to note there. It's a really good way to reset the board, I think, in the same way, and better and worse in some ways than Blasphemous Act, because Star of Extinction hitting planeswalkers, but then again, Blasphemous Act having the cost reduction aspect to it. I really, really, really hope that we see Dinosaurs in Rivals.
We should. Like I said, this isn't a story card.
Yeah, so that's actually a good point, and something that I didn't notice. I don't think this happens in Standard. Rob, what do you think?
No, it just doesn't.
Okay.
It's too late game, and like 20 damage is excessive. I mean, Into the Maw of Hell didn't even see standard play, and that's 6 and does 13 and destroys a target land as well.
Into the Maw of Hell. Destroy target land and does. Okay, all right. I feel like that's a perfect comparison there. So yeah, this is like I'm pretty sure this was designed with Commander in mind. I think that's a fair thing to say. Really cool card anyway. The flavor is awesome.
I mean, I just think back to the field wipe that hits planeswalkers as well. So
that's right. What about Death Gorge Scavenger, Rob?
All right, so we got Death Gorge Scavenger, and it is a 2 colorless, 1 green, and it's a dinosaur, of course.
Very good.
Whenever Death Gorge Scavenger enters the battlefield or attacks, you may exile target card from a graveyard. If a creature card is exiled this way, Death Gorge Scavenger gets +1/+1 until end of turn. It is a 3/2.
So it's like a weird variation, not variation. I feel when I read this card, it makes me think of Scavenging Ooze, and it makes me think of Deathrite Shaman a little bit. I'm not saying that it's on equal power level of those two cards, but that's just kind of the idea that I get.
Yeah, I mean, it does feel like an odd cross between those, but the problem is with a Scavenging Ooze that it actually sticks around. It's a permanent +1/+1
Oh yeah, you're
counter.
right. That's a fair point.
And this is until end of turn. Now, granted, do I think it'll be played in standard? Yes, just because it's graveyard hate.
Yeah, definitely.
So there's, even if recursion's made later, it prevents the recursion from happening. Outside of that, though, I do want to note you gain 2 life as well.
And that's a pretty big deal, right?
It can be, depending on the board state, but just 3/2 for 3 that theoretically the next turn is gaining you 2 life and becoming a 4/3 isn't necessarily that bad. So,
all right, that sounds fair to me. I also have a quick update for you here. I am clicking faster than my heart's beating right now on SCG. When foils came up, I couldn't even get a Growing Rites of Itlimoc or a Carnage Tyrant. Like I refreshed, saw that they were there, and they were already out.
Wow.
Oh yeah. Do we want to just skip to that one real quick?
Yeah, we're gonna get to that right now. In fact, Rob, while I'm desperately trying to make sure that I can secure a pre-order here, because it looks like they're back in stock, but there's 4 of them, so I'm like, oh. So Rob, tell us about Growing Rights of Itlimoc, the card that's shaking kitchen tables and competitive tables and rocking message boards around the world.
Okay, so I'm just going to call this pseudo Gaia's Cradle for the next minute because it's so much shorter than Itlimoc.
Right,
so it's a legendary enchantment for 2 colorless and 1 green. And when it enters the battlefield, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. At the beginning of your end step, if you control 4 or more creatures, transform Growing Rights of Itlimoc.
All right.
And here's where Pseudo's Gaia Cradle comes in. You get a strictly better version of Gaia's Cradle. However, you do have to keep in mind you have to activate it before you get it.
Mm-hmm.
And it is tap, add a green or a forest to your mana pool, or tap, add a forest to your mana pool for each creature you control, which is exactly Gaia's Cradle.
Boy.
This card has a lot of applications and a lot of formats.
I feel like this card is almost unfairly compared to Gaia's Cradle, though. I feel like too many people are just hammering the idea, oh, it's better than Cradle, it's not better than Cradle. In a Commander and maybe like a Legacy, like Modern standpoint, I think that's definitely legit. But I think the thing that you have to consider here is that this card is coming, and this card is going to be in Standard. You know what I mean? So
it's terrible.
So yeah, is this card going to be good in Standard or no?
Let me give you an example of a situation that people are looking to build decks for.
Okay.
Turn 1, you play any mana. Turn 2, you play any mana, or preferably a plains, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Then you tap, play a mana rock. Turn 3, play another plains, cast Scram's Expertise.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let me remind you what that is. That is a 2 colorless, 2 white, and it simply states that you create 3 1/1 servo tokens, aka creatures,
Mm-hmm.
and then you proceed to cast for free a 3 or less cost spell.
Mm-hmm.
Growing Rights of Itlimoc is a 3 or less cost spell.
Yeah, it is.
Turn 3 with Mana Rock on field, which is a creature. You have 4 creatures, and you go to end step, and you suddenly have the Cradle of the Sun.
And then next turn you do what? Play Carnage Tyrant?
Yes, there's any number of things.
Yeah, I'm sure.
As I said, suddenly those 8 and 9 drops that everybody looks at in Standard goes, I don't think that's playable, suddenly becomes playable turn 4.
Do we have any bit of land destruction in Standard right now?
Yeah.
Star of Extinction.
Besides that.
there's we were just talking about the red one, but that one's kind of useless.
Right.
But yeah, we've got some land removal that will most likely switch over to be sideboard land removal.
Oh yeah.
For when you go up against the Growing Rights of Itlimoc and also the Pseudo Maze of Ith that we have further down the set.
Yeah, we'll get to that. So, Brandon, does this have any applications for decks that you currently have?
I mean, if I get one, sure I could play it somewhere.
Are you excited about this card? Let me put it that way.
I mean, sure.
Interesting. It's really it's really interesting to me to see set by set the cards that actually make you excited. So, I for one am really excited about this. Even though
you forget I'm a Jeskai player at heart.
Right. Fair enough.
Green and black just get me going.
So, I don't know, man. I like this card a lot. I'm definitely going to get one. I actually secured my pre-order, thank goodness. But coming to think of decks that this goes in, I really don't know. But all I know is that I wanted one. So there you go.
Was the $40 worth it?
I think so. I don't know. And the thing about these sort of pre-orders is I don't care what happens to the price.
Yeah.
As long as I just know that I have the peace of mind knowing that I was able to get them. Go, okay. Rob.
I feel like Omnath is going to play, every Omnath deck is going to play that.
Omnath, that being the mono green one?
Yes.
So Omnath, Locus of Mana, that makes its own green mana, doesn't empty at the end as turns and phases end, or as steps and phases end. So yeah, definitely. That definitely is. I haven't seen somebody play an Omnath deck like ever, like just mono green. Is it competitive? Is it good? Seems good.
It's good if you're not going up against removal decks.
Fair enough. Next up, Brandon, tell us about Vance's Refrigeration, aka Vance's Blasting Cannons.
Vance's Blasting Cannons, legendary enchantment.
Legendary.
Upkeep. Yeah, Growing Wrath of Elamok was legendary too.
Yeah, there's a whole cycle.
Anyway, exile the top card of your library. If it's a non-land card, you may cast that card this turn. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you cast your third spell in a turn, you may transform Vance's Blasting Cannons into Spitfire Bastion, which
That's
is
an
fantastic
awesome name.
art, by the way.
Awesome name too. I love that as a name of a card.
So taps for red, and 2 in a red and tap, deals 3 damage to target creature or player.
So how about this one, Brandon? Does this card get you
Nope.
excited? No? Okay, do any of these legendary enchantments / lands get you excited?
Not really.
Interesting.
Um,
Go, Rob.
I have 2 things. Right back to the land we were just talking about, though. One thing we didn't point out about the green one, when you cast it, you go look 4 cards deep for a creature and put it in your hand after you reveal it. That's something that a lot of people forget about that.
Oh, yeah.
But yes, back to this.
It's a great way of
with
getting card
Spitfire-
advantage.
Yep. With Spitfire Bastion, I feel like there's so many better lands than this one. Like Barbarian Ring, for example.
Barbarian Ring. Barbarian Ring, to refresh everyone's memory, is a mono red land that adds a red and deals 1 damage to you, and at threshold, so when you have 7 or more cards in your graveyard, for 1 and tapping it and sacrificing Barbarian Ring, you deal 2 damage to target creature or player. So you think the Barbarian Ring ousts this card in usability?
Yes, and other formats. Just the Blasting Cannon, I feel like it just is too late game for the formats that it wants to be played in.
Oh, okay. So you think in like a burn scenario, like a really quick burn scenario, that this card just, the mana cost isn't right, and also the condition to change it isn't right?
Yeah, any legacy or modern burn that would attempt to play this, all their mana cutoffs are at like 3.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I'd be more excited if this was a 3 mana cost card than 4. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. It's funny because when I saw the Pseudo Guys card, as we're calling it, I was expecting this to be something like Valakut, and I don't think
Yes.
I don't think that it's not as much like Valakut as Growing Rights is Two Guys Cradle. So I don't know.
No, it's more Barbarian Ring than it is Valakut.
Yeah, fair enough. So next up, Rob is going to tell us about Argyl's Bloodfast.
Ooh, yes, this is an interesting one. Pseudo Diamond Valley.
Okay.
So Argyl's Bloodfast is a 1 colorless, 1 black legendary enchantment that says for 1 colorless and 1 black, pay 2 life and draw a card, which we've seen before on Erebos. At the
Seems
beginning
good.
of your upkeep, if you have 5 or less life, you may transform Argyl's Bloodfast. It turns into Temple of Aklazats. Tap, add a swamp to your mana pool. Tap, sacrifice a creature. You gain life equal to the sacrificed creature's toughness.
All right. So it becomes a sack outlet, which I like. But at the same time, I don't think Commander players want this card because I don't think Commander players want to be at 5 life or less. Is that
I
fair?
mean, I could see it being in the you can't die Commander decks
With, like,
that are.
Who plays those?
With you'd be surprised.
Oh, I know.
Right. So I love the 2 mana pay 2 life draw a card thing. I think that's great to just have that on a 2 mana enchantment anyway.
I'd much rather go for 4 though and play Erebos.
Yeah, fair enough. A little bit more flexibility with Erebos. But yeah, I don't know. I think so far we still are seeing that Growing Rights of Itlimoc is the most powerful here. We have 2 more to go, and I like the blue one. I think the blue one's pretty cool.
Yeah, and black one also for other formats won't see play because 5 life's way too close to go to dying. So
Right. So, Brandon, how about search for Azcanta?
Search for Azcanta, 1 in blue for another legendary enchantment. Beginning of your upkeep, look at the top card of your library. You may put it into your graveyard. Then, if you have 7 or more cards in your graveyard, you may transform Search for Azcanta. Azcanta, the Second Ruin, legendary land, tap for a blue. 2 in blue and tap. Look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a non-creature, non-land card from among them and put it into your hand with the rest at the bottom of your library in any order.
Is this exciting, Brandon?
Not really.
Whoa, Jesus. I don't know. I think this card is awesome as well. Also, can we just talk real quick? This is something that we haven't really been talking much about. That all of these, like all of the art for these legendary enchantments, is amazing.
Yeah.
And also, I
can
love
agree to that.
I love the art for the way that they're doing Merfolk in this set.
Oh yeah.
Because they're blue green. It's freaking awesome. So, I think this card is really awesome in Commander. I don't know. I like it in the blue deck. It seems in any blue deck, really.
it's better than Think Tank. So
right. So, is this something that goes in Standard?
yes, I honestly do think this will be run in quite a few blue standard decks. Specifically, thinking Mill will be running that,
And we'll get into that.
Blue Mill. We'll get into in a second. I love to cover that fish when we get there.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, Blue Mill. I feel like we'll definitely run it. I also feel like blue. There's Dynavolt Tower and a few other ones that just. The fact that it's 2 mana at the beginning of your turn, effectively scry 1, and also it later becomes look at the top 4 and put a counter spell or a win con into your hand. I feel like that is a good thing. But yeah, I really do think it'll be played for blue. So.
Very good. Brandon, Legion's Landing.
None of these really excite me. Like, what are you trying to get?
I want you to
like
be...
this one would be the most exciting one if it did more than just make a dude.
If it just did more... Have you ever wanted more, Brandon?
So, 1 white mana for Legion's Landing. Enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 white vampire creature token with lifelink. Then when you attack with 3 or more creatures, transform it. Taps for a white, and 2 and a white, and tap, create a 1/1 white vampire creature token with lifelink.
Yeah, as cool as the art for this one is, I think this is also a little weak.
I mean, it's better than some of the other rares they've to push out for tribal land-wise. Like, if anybody remembers the dreaded Sliverhive card, that just sucked. But...
right.
It amounts to a 5 colorless tap and make a 1/1 sliver.
Yeah,
yes.
I don't know, man. It just this just doesn't seem. I don't know what's this supposed
like. If you're playing this in what's his name that just got printed, great.
Markov.
Sure.
Oh right, okay, sure. From the Commander set, Brandon, is that what you're talking about?
Yep.
Yeah. So, I just feel like the power level isn't there when compared to Search for Azcanta and Growing Rights, specifically those two. But I guess as a blanket statement, I kind of mean, I don't feel like the power levels are equal here. I feel there's some power levels are significantly higher than others.
I feel like it's very strong in a Vampire Tribal Commander deck, but outside of that, I feel like it won't see much play.
You know, that's a fair point. I can see that. Just being in, like, maybe this card is just one of the lanes that everyone starts to include in the Mardu or Red-Black Vampire deck.
Because there's so many enter the battlefield triggers for vampires whenever a vampire enters the battlefield, do this.
Right, yeah. That makes sense. So, yeah, who knows? Maybe this card is a little bit better than we thought on the surface.
Still not that good, though.
Right. So, I think the next card is something that is one of the first things that we actually got spoiled. Bishop of Rebirth. It's a vampire cleric, which is pretty cool. I always enjoy getting new support for clerics. I just enjoy good cleric cards because I think that something that Commander doesn't really have right now is a really good cleric deck.
Yeah.
So for 5 mana, we have a 3/4 with Vigilance, and whenever it attacks, you may return target creature card with converted mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. I think that is solid. I don't think there's much more that I can really say about it. It's very straightforward, and the art's really good, and that's what I have to say about it.
It's baby Sentai.
Yeah, okay, that's a fair point. I didn't even consider that. So this is target creature card, so that's the one caveat of that compared to Sun Titan. However, shouldn't discount that. You know what I mean? So next is a card that Rob has been waiting to talk about for a while, and it is Devorator Deflot, as it says on Mythic Spoiler. But we're going to go ahead and bring the text over here.
Fleet Swallower. And actually, I want to tell a little thing about this card, just some fun trivia.
Okay.
So, this is actually the second time this card has been spoiled, and there's a reason.
Okay.
This card was spoiled about a week after spoil season started, and was quickly met with some backlash. The original spoil was 3 colorless and 2 blue, and stated the same thing that this stated, except for it was a 4/6.
Jeez.
So they upped it to where it was 2 more colorless and a 6/6, due to the fact that in standard it would become a staple and blue mill decks would just dominate the meta. Because having any ramp and being able to drop this fish turn 4 with Fraying Sanity on board is a win. And let me explain why. So, Swallower is 5 colorless and 2 blue, and is a fish. Whenever Fleet Swallower attacks, it's an attack trigger, not a combat damage trigger.
Right.
Target opponent puts the top half of his or her library into his or her graveyard, rounded up. It is now a 6/6. So, with Fraying Sanity in mind, straying away from its applications and others real quick, Fraying Sanity is a 2 colorless and 1 blue enchantment that simply states if a player were to put cards into his graveyard from anywhere, repeat that process at the end step from the top of your library. So, in other words, if you put half of your library into your graveyard, and then you go to end step with that on board, you put the other half in there, and you go to draw and lose the game. Also noted, rounded up could also cause them to lose if they don't have an even number. Outside of that, though, I feel like it's fun for Commander, especially if you're running Millen Commander, just because of the fact that it knocks 50 cards out of somebody's library the moment it attacks, and it's target opponent, so you don't even have to be attacking the opponent you're making mill.
So, in Commander, I ran the mill deck for all of like 2 games, I think, and then I was like, boy, this deck is really, I don't know. Mill's such a controversial way to play. You know what I mean? But that's not to say that this card is not powerful in the mill deck, because it definitely is. Like no questions asked. You know what I mean? It's just, are you going to be the guy to play the mill deck? In your meta around where you play, Rob, is the mill something that you have to worry about?
We've got 1 mill player, and I think I'm going to build the mill deck.
Ooh.
Just because it's so strong. But I think I'm going to make it Bant mill, which is weird.
Okay.
But I just don't know. I'm going to have to play test it a little bit, see what ends up happening.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I'll build it. However, I think the flavor text is my favorite part about this card over everything else.
And
it just says, Captain, I think that island is following us.
That's pretty good. I do dig that. So, Sword Point Diplomacy, Brandon.
Sword Point Diplomacy. 2 and a black for a sorcery. Reveal the top 3 cards of your library. For each of those cards, put that card into your hand unless any opponent pays 3 life, then exile the rest. Okay.
So it's like some sort of weird backwards one-time Sylvan Library backward. It's like there. I feel Sylvan Library a lot in this card. You know what I mean?
I feel more of Athreos in this card.
Okay, the bouncing the creatures back to your hand after they die unless they pay 3.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I think that's fair.
However, I feel like it's not good in Commander in any way.
Yeah, I think that I don't know, in Commander, if like you're gonna get good stuff, that your opponents are gonna be like, yeah, no, I'll pay the 6 or 9 life. That's no big deal.
And if you're in a larger pod than just 2, each, it says any opponent.
Oh, so they could split it up.
Yep.
Yeah, that is also a very fair point.
However, on the counterpoint, I think it will see standard play just because you get to go 3 deep. The only disadvantage is you're revealing all 3 of them.
Yeah.
But let's say you hit 3 bombs that they just don't want to hit the field. They have to pay 9 life. That is, in most standard games, roughly by the time you're playing it, right around half their life total to prevent you from getting them.
Yeah, so and that just goes to say that in standard, as when compared to Commander, this is just a comparison type thing. Your life total matters a lot more in standard than it does in Commander, strictly because you have so much less of it. That's not saying that your life total, you need to conserve it at all costs, like like the flaw that I talked about earlier, but just that 3 and then 6 and then 9 life, like it's incrementally. Like, it gets incrementally more difficult for your opponent to make the decision.
Let's put it this way. It's combustible Gear Hulk in a way, in the sense that you're getting 3 cards out, possibly, and they're paying life to prevent them from hitting your hand. So
Right. So, next up we have Redoubled Volley, or as Mythic Spoiler likes to put it, Descarga Redoblada.
Can I say one more thing about that last one, though?
Yeah, go for it.
Let's snap it into perspective as a 3 mana, deal 3 damage, and draw 2 cards.
That's a really good way to put it. It's not instant speed, but still, like, it still puts your opponent in a tough spot no matter what.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
But yes, back to this weirdly worded one.
Yeah. Redoubled Volley is 1 and 2 red for a sorcery that deals 3 damage to target creature or player, and then it has Raid, a returning mechanic. So for 3 and a red, Redoubled Volley, cast Redoubled Volley from your graveyard to your hand. Oh, return it. Okay. Activate this ability only if you attack with a creature this turn.
I love Raid.
Raid, yes. This card, not so much. But Raid, I really enjoy.
This card's so bad.
Okay, let's move on. Tell us about Ripjaw Raptor,
Tiny
Brandon.
Leader's playable.
Oh, good.
Did you realize that? Tiny Leader's playable.
Yeah, there you go. Did you play Tiny Leaders at all, Rob?
Yes and no. I'm not playing it.
Okay, fair enough. Ripjaw Raptor, Brandon.
Ripjaw Raptor. 2 green for a dinosaur. Enrage whenever Ripjaw Raptor is dealt damage, draw a card. Now, this excites me.
Oh, yeah. This card's awesome.
This excites me too, yes.
And I believe this is... Yeah, no, I believe this is our first encounter with Enrage, which is a new mechanic for the set. And
which is also fantastic.
Yes. This particular creature's trigger for Enrage is whenever Ripjaw Raptor is dealt damage, not combat damage, dealt damage, draw a card. Oh, gosh, give me more of that.
Creatures to death.
Give me more of that. Holy smokes, dude.
Right?
That art is beautiful. Something that I really, really admire about Ixalan as a whole, the design for the dinosaurs is amazing. I just love how all the dinosaurs look. And that's all I have to say about that. This card's great.
It's a 4/5, by the way. I don't know if I said that.
Oh, yeah.
So, a 4 mana 4/5, I'll take it.
Yep.
Any form, 4 mana 4/5 is pretty decent.
Yeah,
so.
for sure. Old Growth Dryads.
But the fact again.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
But the fact again, though, that it draws you a card in stealth damage is amazing.
Yeah,
so.
There's more ways than just combat to deal damage. So, as we'll see later. So,
Hell, you know what you could do?
what could you do?
Oh man, you could use Niv Mizzet's ping trigger and ping it and draw more cards and start pinging more things. Ah,
There you go. Teamer Enrage.
yep. There you go.
Also, another thing that standard will probably have people doing is there's a card that literally deals 1 damage, then gets trample.
Mm-hmm.
Hit Ripjaw Raptor with that.
Yep.
You have a 4/4 with trample,
And draw 2 cards.
and you draw a card.
Well, doesn't
and
that...
yeah,
it
then
cantrips
the
itself,
card draws
so...
you a card. The card draws you a card, and then you draw a card off Ripjaw.
Yeah. Awesome. Seems good to me. This card is excellent. The next card, not so much. Old Growth Dryads is 1 for a 3/3 Dryad, which seems good on the surface. However, when this card enters the battlefield, each opponent may search their library for a basic land and put it onto the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle his or her library. In Commander, I hate this card. I think that the tempo that you're trying to gain by playing this card just turns around and turns the tempo against you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely in Commander. However, I'm going to argue that in Legacy and Modern, it might see play.
Really?
Yes. The reason why I'm going to argue that is a lot of Legacy players don't run basics. Keyword there is
okay.
basic land.
Yeah.
So 1-drop 3/3 that they fail to find a land.
And you just have a 3/3. Wow.
Yeah, exactly. That's real good. In Modern, a lot of decks don't care if your opponent's ramping or, again, have issues running basics sometimes. So it really depends. I think it's going to be a sideboard card in Modern and probably more towards a staple against everything but burn in Legacy.
Interesting. Some interesting insight there.
However, in Standard, I don't know if it's going to see play.
Mm-hmm.
There's quite a few pump spells that can make it really scary early game.
Right.
But you got to run the risk of ramping your opponent a land.
Yeah, surely
We'll
you don't
just
want to
have
be
to
ramping your
see.
opponent who's playing Dinosaurs, right?
I mean, but treasures are ramping just as much. So
Okay.
again, it's going to be one of those things we're going to have to wait and see how it plays out in Standard, but definitely not in Commander, sideboardable in Modern, and pretty playable in Legacy, believe it or not. So
All right. Brandon, Captivating Crew.
Captivating Crew. It's a 3 in a red for a 4/3 human pirate. It's got an ability which reads 3 in a red, active treason.
Is that, I mean, in Pirates, yeah, sure. Maybe this is good.
Yeah.
Just in Pirates, in maybe just in red. I'm having a really hard time with this card. It's a very
Yeah.
interesting set.
A lot of the creatures that are like this are just kind of. What do you do?
So, what's that?
How valuable is your active treason?
What's that card from Innistrad, Brandon? Or Rob, you know, the one that gains control of a creature? You know the
I mean,
one.
you've got Hijack on Standard right now.
Say what?
You've got Hijack, which is 3 and does the same thing, except for
Yeah, so I guess this one, you could just do it more often. Every
well,
turn.
and the thing
It doesn't
is,
tap, so
I guess you could do it multiple times a turn. Yeah, there you go.
yeah, I feel it like if a deck engineers itself to run off this, then I guess it could see play. But again, if you're going to engineer a red deck to run off something, it's not going to be that.
Right, so...
I feel like it'll be running Standard, just especially drafting limited. If you draft that, I feel like that'll be hands down keep. But as for Standard wise, I think it'll be a 1 or 2 of in Pirates, just because of the fact that it has the ability to, I don't know, jack your 9-drop dinosaur.
Yeah, that's actually a really fair point, especially like in this standard environment that we're creeping into now, where all of a sudden a lot bigger creatures are going to be a lot more relevant. So,
I mean, it would be hilarious if your opponent was playing Blue Mill, had Praying Sanity on board, and you jacked their Fleet Swallower before they could play it with this pirate and swung it at them.
all right, yeah, more implications than I originally thought.
So I mean, it's a 1 or 2 Standard.
Sure.
So
What about Blood Crazed Paladin, Rob?
so Blood Crazed is one colorless and one black, and is a vampire knight because we need more of those.
That's right.
And it has flash,
Cool.
which vampires with flash is a little weird for me. But Blood Crazed Paladin enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it for each creature that died this turn, and it's a 1/1.
So
I feel in command. Yes.
Go ahead.
I feel like in Commander it's going to be good. Because someone field wipes the decks and literally kills like 30 creatures in a 4-man pod, and you just go, oh, I get a 31/31.
Yep. Reminds me a little bit of Phyrexian Rebirth. I feel like the card's pretty... It's not exactly the same, but Phyrexian Rebirth being destroy all creatures, then you get an XX, where X is the number of creatures destroyed this way. So, but this card costs 2, whereas Phyrexian Rebirth costs 6. So I feel like Blood Crazed Paladin is a little bit more reactive, especially because it has flash.
Yeah, I think it'll only see play in Commander most likely, just because you don't have that many things dying in Standard at one time.
Okay.
Unless you're running Black-White Fumigate.
Sure. Any thoughts, Brandon?
No, it's pretty neat, dude. He's obviously better with flash, though.
Sure. I'm thinking of just skipping over Siren Storm Tamer.
Oh, come on.
Okay. Okay, is this something that you like? See, Brandon, I have no idea what you like. So, Brandon, Siren Storm Tamer. Go for it.
Siren Storm Tamer is a Siren Pirate Wizard.
All right.
It's got flying, it's a 1/1, and then blue and sacrifice it. Counter target spell or ability that targets a creature you control, or you, whatever. It doesn't matter. Counter stuff for a blue. It's great.
All right. Awesome. I guess it is 1/1 with flying. That's pretty cool, too.
Also, I want to note one thing that's really special about this card, other than the fact that it's Mausoleum Wanderer meets Spellskite.
Okay.
If you read his flavor text, it says, he's the calm that hides the coming storm.
Ooh.
He's the first male siren ever printed in Magic.
Oh, Really? I guess I can't really tell by the artwork. But yeah, the flavor text says it. Wow. That's interesting. Not something I would have either. I mean, as Brandon knows, I'm really terrible with pronouns. I just call he's, she's, and she's, he's all the time. When it comes to these cards, yeah.
But I just think it's interesting. He's the first male siren.
Yeah, that is actually very interesting and pretty significant. Just moving forward, it opens up the doors to, hey, we might see more. Mavrin Fane, Dusk Apostle, is 2 and a white for a 2/2 vampire cleric. And whenever one or more non-token vampires you control attacks, create a 1/1 vampire, a white vampire, not white and black, not white, black, red, just white. Creature token with lifelink. Is there going to be a vampire deck in Standard?
Absolutely.
You think, really? Wow, that'd be pretty cool.
We're going to have vampires, we're going to have merfolks, dinosaurs, and we're going to have pirates.
Wow. You think there's actually going to be meta decks for each of the main creature types?
Most likely, yes, because they've made so much synergy for themselves that literally, I think the main 3 we're going to see, though, is going to be dinosaurs, merfolks, and pirates, because they're all loved a lot in this set.
Right.
But I definitely think we'll see a couple of vampire ones, especially with the fact that is a straight-up token generator.
Yeah. Does this have any implications for you, Brandon?
Not really.
No vampires for you, huh?
Nope.
All right. Fair enough. Sanguine Sacrament. 2 and X, you gain twice X life. Put Sanguine Sacrament on the bottom of its owner's library at instant speed. This card is interesting. Okay. I'm surprised that we didn't have a cycle. It seems like when we get
X
stuff...
X and blue, X and black, like that.
And that does something, and then you put it on the bottom of your library.
Right.
This is just a life gain card. That's how I feel about this.
Yep.
So I'm going to move forward unless anybody has any objections.
Nope, but the next spell excites me, so...
All right. Spell Swindle. Tell us about it.
All right, Spell Swindle. It's 3 colorless and 2 blue. It's instant speed, counter target spell, create X colorless treasure artifact tokens, where X is that spell's converted mana cost. They have sacrifice this artifact, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool.
It's like
The thing that excites me about this is it's as close to mana drain as we're gonna get.
That's kind of what I was thinking too. And I
Like,
guess also it turns on Metalcraft.
It turns on Metalcraft. It also, in certain situations, can win you the game off of cards.
Cards like what?
Nice production.
Oh, Magnetized Production, right. On treasures, wow.
So, I mean, I think it's going to be a staple in Standard, and I think it'll be fun in Commander just countering their 9-drop and getting 9 mana that just sits there artifact-wise.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty good way of putting that. Are you going to use this, Brandon? Is this going to go in?
Probably.
Yeah? Awesome.
It'll go into something, I'm sure.
It'll go into something, he says.
I could find a good use for it.
Again, I feel like it's the closest Standard's ever going to get to actually having mana drain in it, but the thing that makes it's better and worse in the sense that it costs more, so it's absolutely worse in that sense.
Right.
But the mana stays.
Yeah, just for you to be used whenever you like. So.
Yep, and it also has different applications. It can trigger Revolt in Standard. It can also allow you to get Mechanized Production, or Revel in Riches to go off.
Right.
And off 1 counter spell. So I feel like there are things to be said about it.
Nice. So, Sanctum Seeker. Apart from having awesome artwork, it is 4 mana for a 3/4 Vampire Knight. Whenever a vampire you control attacks, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. This is a card that goes in the vampire deck. I don't know how else to put it. And that's it.
You mean I generate a bunch of tokens off vampires entering and then I swing them all, not caring if they hit or not, and watch them die?
There's Mardu Vampires is just so quickly becoming a thing in Commander.
So here's a fun fact for you.
Sure.
So in the world design for Ixalan, they couldn't figure out a great way to show vampires without fangs, right? Mm-hmm. So you know where they put the fangs? On their armor. Oh. So you see how they have the pointy tops on their hats?
Yeah. Wow, interesting. I didn't think about that. That's really cool. It's a good.
So that way, you just look at a card, one of the armored vampires specifically. Like we go back up to Sword Point Diplomacy. Yeah. You got that vampire standing there with the 2 points up.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Vampire dude.
Wow. That's not something I would have thought of. Rampaging Ferocidon is 3 for a 3/3 with Menace, and it says players can't gain life. And then whenever another creature enters the battlefield, Rampaging Ferocidon deals 1 damage to that creature's controller.
Players can't gain life in red? What?
Yeah, and remember how we were discussing Axis of Mortality?
Uh-huh. It's another application for that, I guess.
I feel like that might be musing in Standard, but not really.
Sure, fair enough.
If you're about to lose the game and you play him and do Axis of Mortality, I guess you are both about to lose the game and you hope you can deal the damage you need to him, but I just don't know.
We are getting a Lightning Strike back.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, fair enough.
It'll be Lightning Bolt. Yay.
So, Shaper's Sanctuary is up next. And it's a 1 mana green enchantment that says whenever a creature you control becomes the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, you may draw a card. I think this card's awesome.
This card is amazing. It's going to see play in so many formats.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. Just I love drawing cards, but I'm not necessarily the most I don't play blue a ton. So having cards like this makes me happy.
Yeah, any green commander deck will probably end up running it.
Yeah.
If they're generating creatures at all, which I don't know why you wouldn't be in green. Right. But also, Elves in Modern, Elves in Legacy, and Standard are all going to run this card if they're playing green.
Wow. Just
because of the fact it's a Leovold enchantment.
All right. Any thoughts, Brandon?
Not really.
Verdant Sun's Avatar is 7 mana for a 5/5. Woof. It's a dinosaur avatar, but when the Verdant Sun's Avatar or another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain life equal to that creature's toughness. This works awesome with Dinosaurs, and I feel like this also goes in the what's his name? Doran.
Yeah.
Doran the Siege Tower, just because of how he works. and he generally goes off of creatures that have a high toughness. So this card's pretty sweet. Any thoughts other than that, anybody?
Nope.
Not really.
All right. Captain Lannery Storm. Brandon, what's this card do?
Captain Lannery Storm is 2 and a red human pirate. It's 2/2 with haste. Whenever Captain Lannery Storm attacks, create a colorless treasure artifact token with tap. Sacrifice this artifact, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Whenever you sacrifice a treasure, Captain Lannery Storm gets +1/+0 until end of turn.
So you just want all kinds of treasure with this card.
Yep.
I'm just gonna say this. You asked what this card does. This card makes me cry. It's horrible.
Uh-oh. In any format?
I honestly don't know what format would run that.
You don't think that Commander Pirates runs it just for fun?
I mean, I guess, and if you can explain to me anywhere outside of Commander Pirates that this card actually has application, I'd be happy to hear it.
Tiny leaders.
Yeah, sure. Tiny Leaders does it, but it doesn't seem like Rob's that much into Tiny Leaders. Tiny Leaders, this card could be pretty good, though. I could see that, but...
But outside of that, I don't see it having any application because a 3-drop hasty 2/2 that might become a 3/2 occasionally and generate you a treasure every time you swing, assuming it doesn't die the first time you swing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Doesn't seem that good.
What about Revel in Riches, though? The next card.
That one makes me excited.
All right, tell us about it.
So I feel like this will be better in other formats other than Standard, but it strictly won't be used in Standard, and I'll explain why here in a minute.
Okay.
Revel in Riches is 4 colorless and 1 black. An enchantment. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, create a colorless treasure artifact token with obviously the treasure. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 10 or more treasures, you win the game.
Woof.
I feel like in black control, this is a pretty decent card because you get 1 mana back every time you remove something.
I feel like for flavor that this is going to be super funny in Pirates for people to win like this, and I feel like they're going to win with it more times than you might think.
Yeah. And I feel like in Standard, though, it's not going to see play. For the or it'll be one of those ones where it's kind of like played. Due to the fact that Pirates is going to be Grixis.
Right.
Now, in Standard, there's a strictly better version of this called Mechanized Production, which states it's an enchantment aurora, and it's 4 cost, 2 colorless, and 2 blue. Enchant artifact you control. At the beginning of your upkeep, create a token that's a copy of enchanted artifact. Then if you control 8 or more artifacts with the same name as one another, you win the game.
Well, do you run blue-black and then run both?
I mean, that's probably what'll happen is they'll probably put like 1 or 2 riches and then 3 mechanized productions in there. In Pirates, with how much treasure is being made, though, theoretically there's ways to win turn 5 or 6 with the mechanized production, with everything in Standard. But yeah, it's one of those things where I feel like mechanized production will be played over it because it's 1 less. It generates 1 no matter what at the beginning of your upkeep. And also, whenever you control 8 or more, does not matter if it's at the beginning of your upkeep. It's whenever you do.
So I think
no. I'm sorry. It's at the beginning of your upkeep. So they're both at the beginning of your upkeep, but it's 2 less required to get mechanized production to go off.
So I think that Grixis Pirates runs both of these. You think? I think so.
Yeah, I feel like it would. But again, I feel like mechanized production is strictly better. But I'm bashing on a card with another card that's mythic to rare.
Sure.
So,
Brandon, Deadeye Quartermaster.
Deadeye Quartermaster is a 3 and a blue for a 2/2 human pirate. When it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for an equipment or vehicle card, reveal it, and put it into your hand, then shuffle your library.
You put it into your hand, and you can get an equipment or a vehicle.
Yep.
Very interesting. So you can get pirate ships.
You can.
Which is pretty cool. I feel like this will definitely get run in the pirate deck.
Yep.
Is there any application for this? Like, is there like any sort of vehicle build in standard right now?
Not in blue.
Okay, that's kind of what I was thinking.
That's what troubles me about this. I don't know how I feel about it yet. I'm gonna have to take some time to build. As of right now, the pirate deck I'm looking at building does not run one.
Okay.
Due to the fact that it does not state artifact
Yeah.
anywhere in there.
Yeah.
It states equipment or vehicle,
Mhm.
and vehicles aren't that great anymore with the amount of artifact removal.
Right. Well, yeah,
So,
that's fair.
I mean, but is it a good card? Yes, I think it's a good card. However, do I think it's one that I would play? No, because it's a 2/2 for 4 that searches for an equipment or vehicle and puts it in your hand.
Right. Gotcha. So, Kanali Sunwing. Is that how you say that? I'd say that is Kanali. I think the J is silent. But
You think so?
So I'm gonna say
No. You're pronouncing it wrong. It's Thalia.
Very good. Yeah, 3 for a 2/3 flying. Creatures your opponent's control enter the battlefield tapped. I hate effects like this. I'm not running this in the dinosaur deck. I just hate effects like this. But
it's gonna see so much standard play though.
oh yeah, for sure, dude.
3 flyer, which on its own is pretty decent. That has Thalia triggers on it.
Yep. And then the next card coming up, I kind of feel the same way about Tecatli Honor Guard, which is 2 for a 1/3. And then creatures entering the battlefield doesn't cause abilities to trigger. Just
You pronounce it wrong again. It's Torpor Orb.
Very good. Which I saw earlier. I was watching, I think it was one of the Manosaurus videos where this Torpor Orb came up as like one of the most hated cards in Commander, and I agree. Any thoughts on either of the last two cards, Brandon? Any of these sort of weird board control cards that just slow down the entire game?
Not really. I wouldn't play him.
Yeah, same here.
I'm just going to say Tocatli is definitely going to be a sideboard card for anything that runs white in standard, just because dinosaurs. When I can prevent Sun Avatar from going off, if I can prevent your pirates from creating treasures, and I can also prevent, Awakening Sun Avatar from wiping the field, etc., name your application.
Yeah. That seems powerful. Next we get up to an interesting card because we're getting into like the really solid idea that merfolk are coming back. And this card, boy, look at the art on that guy.
Can I name more application for Takli though?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
You know that Dryad that you said was strictly bad?
Okay. So yeah, I guess it just becomes 1 for a 3/3.
Mm-hmm.
I actually wouldn't think of that. Wouldn't have thought of that. So that's a pretty good application for that. So, Kapala, Warden of Waves, Brandon. Tell us about this new legendary merfolk guy. If you're still there.
I think you just said I'll be right back.
Oh, he did. He did just say that. So I'll go ahead and take the point on this one on Kapala, Warden of Waves. 1 and 2 blue for a 2/2. Legendary from Merfolk Wizard. Spells your opponents cast that target a merfolk you control cost 2 more to cast. And abilities your opponents activate that target a merfolk also cost 2 more to activate. I think I like the art on this card more than I like the card itself. This just looks awesome.
It's the one card that's making Modern and Legacy think about putting blue merfolks into their green merfolk decks. So, I feel like, I don't know about this one yet.
I'm curious to see how it turns out because I know in Commander that we have the blue-green merfolk now, so I'm really excited to see the builds that people come up with for that. Because I really like the idea of merfolk being blue and green. So.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's kind of meant to replace Kira.
The Great Glass Spinner?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Interesting. So is this something that's normally sided by the merfolk deck? Like sideboard or something?
Sort of, yeah. Actually, usually most merfolk decks will play 1 or 2.
Oh, just main deck?
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting. But yeah, This card's great.
So yeah, I mean, and again, Kira is one of those cards that just is good, and I feel like this wants to be that, but isn't that.
Gotcha. Just a newer, more modern version of it that is also a merfolk.
Yes.
Okay. So I think I'm going to touch on Deadeye Tracker just real quick because it has a new feature. It's not. It doesn't like. It's not even. Is this a keyword? I don't think Explorer is a keyword, just because of the way that it's worded. 1 for a 1/1 human pirate, and then for 2 and tapping and exiling 2 target cards from an opponent's graveyard. Deadeye Tracker explores, and what that means is you reveal the top card of your library and put that card into your hand if it's a land. Otherwise, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature, and then put that card. Then put the card back or put it into your graveyard. So there's a lot you can do with Explore.
I mean, I'm gonna say this. It's either it basically amounts to a scry that everyone gets to see for 2 mana and graveyard hate.
Gotcha.
And 1-drop 1/1. So that honestly doesn't seem that bad. And the fact that it, let's say, I don't know, for example, you mentioned blue-black mill earlier. Imagine that black mill. So I mean,
yeah,
it seems useful. It seems useful. Also, the fact that it does not say sorcery speed for that ability.
Oh yeah, you can just do it whenever.
Hitting people's gods in standard right now is a huge thing.
Really?
Bounce to hand, yes.
Huh, that's really interesting.
So that's why people are running the common Scarab Beast in standard as a sideboard card. Is because it hits 3 cards the moment it hits its instant speed, hit 3 cards out of the graveyard. This is instant speed for 2, hit 2 cards, and explore.
Wow, okay. So in standard, maybe this has more applications than Commander.
Oh, absolutely. I don't know if it'll be a standard staple for Pirates. I'm planning on running 1 or 2 of them in a deck. I just feel, though, he has his value in standard, and I don't know. I think he could have his value in Commander. Maybe if you want to like exile people's graveyards, such as Marin.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
Because they can target off their trigger, and in response, you can exile it.
Yeah, okay. It's funny. That reminds me of an interaction that I used to see in Yu-Gi-Oh when I played that. I can't remember the card that it was, but it's pretty funny. That you said
has applications, but would it be one of those ones I'd go out of my way to put in every black commander deck I have? No.
Nah. But would you put Burning Sun's Avatar in every dinosaur deck that has red in it? 6 mana for a 6/6, and when it enters the battlefield, you deal 3 damage to target opponent and 3 damage to up to 1 target creature.
I would. Just because of the fact that it's a 6-drop 6/6 that has an into the battlefield trigger.
Yep.
However, there are some red decks I would not run it in, such as goblins, because I don't want all my goblins to blow up.
Yeah, fair enough.
Oh wait, I've read that wrong.
You thought it was each creature?
Yeah, I read it as each creature. So it's 1 and 1. Yeah, that's not bad at all. Deal 6 damage and get a 6/6 for 6. That's not that bad at all.
Gotcha. So I was thinking about skipping over Waker of the Wilds unless you have anything to say on it.
It's real good with Gaia's Cradle pseudo.
Yeah, okay, I see what you mean. Or any effects like that just generate you a ton of mana. You can get a large creature off of that, but other than that, it doesn't really do that much for me. Personally.
No, just make giant elementals. It wants to be Nissa.
Yeah. But Deeproot Champion, on the other hand, 2 for a 1/1 Merfolk Shaman, and whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you put a +1/+1 counter on Deeproot Champion. This card has amazing artwork, and I love that ability too. Maybe not necessarily for Commander, but I just love that ability.
I think it'd be hilarious to somehow win a game storming off him.
Yeah, no kidding. Somehow, like, keep him out for a turn, then go off next turn. It's like, oh, you gonna grape shot me? No, I'm gonna attack you with my Deeproot Champion. Next up, we have Angrith's Marauders, which is, I wanted to bring it up for just a couple reasons. 7 for a 4/4 human pirate. If a source you control will deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals double that damage. So we have another Furnace of Wrath type effect. But also, it mentions Angrith, who is the Minotaur Planeswalker, who was confirmed as being a thing today, I think, in the article, in the lore article.
Yeah, I told you about this yesterday. Yes, this is the one of the few mentions we get of Captain Angrath throughout this, who we are thoroughly starting to believe will be a red-black Minotaur Planeswalker.
That'd be awesome.
What we know for a fact, though, is he will be a Minotaur Planeswalker. We've seen pictures of him.
Yeah, that's super cool. I'm excited.
However, I just like the flavor text for it, and the reason why, and I'll explain this really quick, and I'll also touch on the lore. It says Captain Angrath cares less about treasure than mayhem. If he can't leave Ixalan, he'll burn the plane down. Let me touch real quick on what that means. Vrask, Jace, and Hulati, or however you want to pronounce it.
Yeah, I get you.
And then Captain Angrath are all stuck on this plane. The only player by choice that we know of is Hulati. The other three have all planeswalked there, whether it's on accident or purpose, or we don't know yet, and are stuck there. And Captain Angrath is so pissed off about that fact that he would rather murder everyone and burn everything down than be stuck here longer.
He's a very angry guy. I can't wait to hear more on that guy.
And also, Captain Angrath has something to do with dragons, which is in Summit. So
interesting. Yeah, as I said, I can't wait to see more on that. Next, however, we have Fathom Fleet Captain, which is 2 for a 2/1 human pirate, has menace, and whenever it attacks, if you control another non-token pirate, you may pay 2. If you do, create a 2/2 black pirate creature token with menace. So I like this card a lot.
2 mana for a 2/2 token with menace? That seems good.
And he just has menace himself, so he's hard to block anyway.
I'd rather keep him back, though, and just, unless I'm going for raid triggers.
Fair enough. I mean, I don't know. I enjoy, like, the type of synergy like this, where he's a pirate and he makes pirates, like, cards that interact with their own type of tribe, you know?
Yep.
How about Entrancing Melody?
It's goofy, and I think the fact it's goofy makes me want to run it.
What's it remind me of? Is it Convolute that it reminds me of? No, it's not that. Can't remember the card. That one counter spell that you can counter target spell with a converted mana cost X.
Are we talking about the one that makes you a bunch of treasures?
No. I don't know. Keep going.
Well, I mean, this is pretty much meant to be a replacement of Welcome to the Fold, which is cycling out. And that's really what I feel it is.
Interesting. Did this card see play anywhere? Welcome to the Fold?
Very rarely, but yeah, it's saw play.
Huh, interesting. Seems fun for Commander, I guess. I mean, I guess it's maybe not, because it's not like you have way better stuff like Control Magic and Treachery and stuff in Commander, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's way too many cards that are better in Commander for it. However, will it see play in Standard, or, well, it won't see play in any other format, because, again, there's so many better cards than this.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll see play in Standard? Maybe?
Who knows? However, what I do know is that Priest of the Awakening Sun is going to see a lot of play in dinosaur decks, because it's 1 for a 1/1, and that says at the beginning of your upkeep, you may reveal a dinosaur card from your hand. If you do, gain 2 life. Sweet. But for 5 mana and sacrificing Priest of the Awakening Sun, search your library for a dinosaur, reveal it, put it in your hand. I'm into that. I think it's fun. Fun synergy with dinosaurs.
Yeah, I feel like it's a really good 1-drop for a dinosaur deck, especially considering you don't have to reveal a different dinosaur each time. You can just keep revealing same one.
Yeah, it doesn't say like another dinosaur or a different dinosaur, you know. It's left very open.
Yeah, you can literally just go Burning Sun Avatar, Burning Sun Avatar, Burning Sun Avatar.
Seems
I'm up
good.
6 life by the time I go to cast it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Ashes of the Aberrant is a 2-mana enchantment that says players can't cast spells from graveyards or activate abilities of cards in graveyards. Whenever a creature dies, you gain 1 life. It just hoses graveyard interaction in all formats. So I don't know.
But it won't play because of the fact that Grafdigger's Cage is just strictly
It's
better.
just better. Okay.
Yeah. Well, Grafdigger's Cage is the same thing minus the life gain, and also doesn't allow people to play from their libraries.
Oh yeah. Okay. So yeah, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I guess this was just made for it to be in standard again, this type of effect or something. But for Commander, not as applicable.
I mean, it could see modern purposes, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. Although it does one thing that Cage doesn't do, which is stop flashbacks. So,
Okay. Yeah, fair enough because of the ability thing.
yep, it says spells, not creatures.
Yeah. So, Herald of Secret Streams is 4 for a 2/3 Merfolk Warrior, and it says creatures you control with +1/+1 counters on them can't be blocked. This goes in the Atraxa deck all day.
So when did we go back to cons and dragons and all that? When did we go back? Because
when do we go back?
No, when did we? This card like strictly comes straight out of something that's like in cons, dragons, or fate.
Right, because that's kind of like what Abzan had going on, his +1/+1 counter interaction, you know?
Yeah, like literally, like it'd be creature gains flying, creature gains, except for this time it's creature gains unblockable.
Yeah, so seems good. I mean, we have a lot of +1/+1 counter interaction outside of cons, but I think what cons did was it really cemented it as being something that could be really good in Commander. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but yes, it definitely goes in Atraxa because making Atraxa unblockable is.
Yeah. So, any opinion on Ruin Raider, or should we skip over that?
I feel like it. Well, I'm gonna just say this. I feel like it wants to be Dark Confidant, but it's just so much worse.
But it's just not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sunbird's Invocation is a 6-mana red enchantment that says whenever you cast a spell from your hand, reveal the top X cards of your library, where X is that spell's CMC. You may cast a card revealed that way with converted mana cost X or less. Without paying its mana cost, put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. So it's if you cast a big red spell, you can also cast another big red spell if you reveal it off the top, which is pretty cool. But as I said, being a 6-mana enchantment, you're going to spend 6 mana to play it, and then you just better hope it lasts, you know?
Yeah, I mean, and I don't think it'll see standard play because, again, enchantment, artifact, and other hates will just shut that down.
Yep, definitely.
But I think it might see commander play. I just feel like I think some people will try to make it work just because, I don't know, casting 10-drop creature and then going and getting to find a 10-drop creature.
On the same kind of lines as like a Warstorm Surge, where you kind of have to play it, but then like creatures do things for you when they enter next to. So if you have both of these out, and you play a creature, you'll deal the damage for Warstorm Surge, and you'll get the trigger off of Sunbird Invocation. So those two together seem to work pretty well, and they both have the exact same mana cost.
You know what interaction I'd love to see though?
What's that?
Possibility Storm the next turn with this card.
Jesus Christ. There you go. Possibility Storm.
The interaction, there'd be so many triggers, and there'd be like 4 cast triggers.
Yeah, that's a lot.
There's a lot.
For all the red combo players, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't know. I'd have to look into that more, but I have a feeling there's a way you could easily make that infinite. Yeah. Cast your entire deck for free.
Jesus. Well, there you go. Sunbird's Invocation. Emperor's Vanguard doesn't really do much for me. He does the explore thing on combat damage. Yep. Ixalan's Diviner. We're getting to the point that in the spoilers, we always reach this point eventually where we just start seeing stuff and we really start just kind of picking and choosing just because some of the stuff just isn't that great.
So I do want to touch one real quick then, if we're going to do that, and that is Settle the Wreckage. Exile all attacking creatures target player controls. That player may search his or her library for that many basic lands, put those cards Onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle his or her library. It is 2 colorless and 2 blue.
2 white.
It's instant speed, remove, and I feel like in quite a few formats that'll be good to include commander.
You could do it on yourself.
Not only can you wipe your own field to go get all of your basics out of your deck,
Yeah.
but it states basics.
Yeah.
Fail to find is a thing.
Oh wow, yeah, okay, sure. In other formats, I'm sure that's more viable.
Somebody swings their entire goblin army at you after they've cranked a dozen times in one turn. You wipe them all. They can only find so many mountains in their deck.
Mm-hmm.
And you buy yourself a turn to try to handle that player. So, I feel like it's a pretty good instant speed wrath. It only hits attacking creatures though, so there's definitely some downsides to it. But I feel like also in Legacy, this card will see play possibly for white removal against certain decks. It'll be a sideboard card.
Huh.
But I feel like in Legacy and Modern, this could see some play, especially in Legacy, because fail to find.
Yeah.
Every time, fail to
Gotcha.
find.
Interesting. So, River's Rebuke is a 6-mana sorcery. This is return all non-land permanents target player controls from his hand. Screw this card. Screw this card. I'm done with it.
Right.
Nope. Cards like target player controls, just no, dude. Like this, and cards like Cyclonic Rift are not cards that I like to see played in Commander, just because I feel like it's just such a freaking buzzkill. Like to see those cards. I don't know.
But it's so much fun. No, yeah, I understand what you're saying, but I do think it'll see.
I'm sure it will.
The one I really don't care for Vraska's Contempt. Do you care?
It's just the spot removal black spell for the set. That's not much else to say about it. So yeah.
I mean, it's a good way to answer gods. It might be a sideboard card.
Yeah, sure.
However, I do like the Taloni's Skin Shifter.
Macaroni Skin Shifter.
The hasty 0/1 for 3 that can be shocked before anything happens. Yeah. But I do feel like if it does manage to get into play, let's say in Commander, it can theoretically become copies of some very terrifying things.
Oh, yeah.
For example, Phyrexian Obliterator.
Yep.
So I mean, there are some interesting applications for that card in a lot of formats. So, but do I think it'll see play in a lot of formats? No, I don't even think it'll see standard play, but I do think it'll see commander play. So, and that's the fun format.
Goring Ceratops is a big white dinosaur with a rainbow thing on him that looks really awesome. So at 7 for a 3/3 has double strike, but whenever Goring Ceratops attacks, other creatures you control gain double strike till end of turn. Awesome. In Commander, awesome. I think that's the best place for it, for sure.
I kind of like Arcane Adaption.
I think
I feel like, huh?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think this card is pretty powerful.
I think it can find some applications, definitely in Commander, because making Phyrexian Obliterator or any number of other terrifying creatures a dinosaur or a vampire can be terrifying.
Yeah. What's the other card? Standardize is kind of like that. Conspiracy, right? No, not Conspiracy. What is it? What's that card? It's black. It costs 5 mana. I can't remember. Oh, maybe I just spelled it wrong. Yeah, this black enchantment, it does pretty much the same thing. Moving on, we're just kind of scrolling at this point. So if we hit anything interesting... So Grim Captain's Call is cool because it returns a pirate from your graveyard, and then you do the same... Wait, hang on. Return a pirate card from your graveyard to your hand, then do the same for Vampire, Dinosaur, and Merfolk? What?
Yeah, it's going to be more of a limited card.
Sure.
like a drafting card. Um, but I like Daring Saboteur Soul, but I don't know how I feel about it as in other formats. But for standard, I feel like it might find a home just due to the fact it can become unblockable, which means you can flip some artifacts we'll talk about later.
Uh-huh. Oh yeah, man, we still have so much more to go over too. It's crazy.
Oh yeah. So outside of that,
Yeah, just keeping moving. I actually really like Kamena's speaker. 1 for a 1/1, and that gets +1/+1 as long as you control another merfolk or island. I like that a lot.
So there's 2 dinosaurs that I kind of like out of the set
Okay.
that are non-commons.
Okay.
Charging Monsterosaur.
Yeah.
The 5-drop 5/5 with trample and haste
Yeah, I
seems
also
real
like
good.
that. Yeah.
And also Thundering Spineback, aka Banner for Dinosaurs for 7. That is a 5/5 that other dinosaurs get +1/+1 and then generates 3/3s for 6. I feel like it has the ability to be resilient, and if your opponent can't answer it, you're just going to be able to build up your side of the board.
Yeah, definitely. Especially even if you just need to like make jumpers and you're just kind of like waiting for the right time to attack. I think that could be used pretty awesome.
Also,
pretty awesome.
The one that I just like the flavor of is Makeshift Munitions.
Which is that?
It's red. It's the red enchantment that says, pay 1, sacrifice an artifact or creature. Makeshift munition deals 1 damage to target creature or player.
Yeah. I love how they're like just putting a statue in the cannon or whatever.
For starters, it's like a monkey-looking dude putting the head of a statue in a cannon, and then the flavor text to it literally says, "Grease up the fire cannon good and proper with dinosaur liver oil, and it'll shoot just about anything."
That's pretty funny. So we have a Slice and Twain reprint, which is pretty cool. I like that pretty well.
Yeah, we also got Spell Pierce somewhere in here. So.
Yeah, we have. Let's go find that real quick because that art for Spell Pierce is awesome.
I also just found another amusing one. Anybody notice there's a Chupacabra just randomly in the set?
Is that its creature type?
It's not an actual Chupacabra. It is a beast horror because I don't think they want to introduce Chupacabras as a creature type.
Right. Yeah, I could see what you mean. And what creature is it?
It's called Lurking Chupacabra.
What color is it in?
Black. It's 4-drop.
Lurking Chupacabra. That's actually what it's called. Wow.
Yep.
Whenever creature controls explores. Okay, I see.
And it's not that bad of a card, but I just think it's amusing. We have a random Chupacabra shoved in here.
Yep. Every now and then you get the weird... I mean, it's funny. It reminds me of Wildy Bandar. Wildy Bandar, right? Is that how you spell it? Bandar. Which we saw recently in Aether Revolt. It's a cat monkey. You know what I mean?
Yeah, cat monkeys.
Yeah.
So another one that I noticed in the uncommons is the big promo for Open House right now is Walk the Plank.
Oh yeah, we can talk about Walk the Plank for sure.
Oh yeah, 2 black, sorcery speed, destroy target non-merfolk creature. I mean, other than the fact that it's not instant speed, it seems real good.
Yeah, both of the artworks look really awesome too. The promo artwork, as well as the. I almost like the normal artwork better, just because it's like the simplicity of it. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of colors, which could be made an argument that that's kind of what makes the promo art better. But I just really like the simplicity of how Walk the Plank looks in the original artwork for it.
Yeah, it's okay.
So
then, of course, go ahead and just skip down to the rest of the multicolors because this episode's running a little long.
Yeah, we probably should do that. I definitely.
I hate to do it because there is plenty of good stuff to go over, but we're running quite a while here.
Yeah. Vraska Relic Seeker, Brandon, take it away.
Vraska Relic Seeker. You should really talk about this, Travis. You got to see this first.
Well, so did Rob. Rob and I saw it at the same time. So
I'll go over Watley.
Okay, I'll let Rob take Vraska then.
Okay, give me 1 second. I'm scrolling down to her. All right, so Vraska Relic Seeker. She's 4 colorless, a black, and a green, and of course she's a legendary planeswalker subtype Vraska. She comes in with 6 loyalty for 6 mana, which isn't bad for starters. But her abilities are +2, create a 2/2 black pirate creature token with Menace. -3, destroy target artifact, creature, or enchantment. Create a colorless treasure artifact token with sacrifice it. This artifact adds 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Which, that one right there, going back into the enchantment hate and all that, right there.
Yeah, that does
artifact, enchantments, and creatures.
Yep.
And then -10, target player's life total becomes 1.
Which is silly.
I feel like that belongs in certain decks, commander-wise, and I feel like the +2's not bad for it. Put her in, create a blocker for her, and she's at 8.
Yeah, I agree.
And also, she can come in for 3 and blow something big up, and give you a mana, or an artifact, depending on what you need it for.
Put it in my favorite deck of yours, Travis.
Oh god, that deck that has way too much spot removal in it. Yeah, but I think that would definitely fit. It's a little bit of a bummer that this isn't in like the Grixis colors,
Yeah, but then it wouldn't fit for her character.
Yeah. Yep, I get you.
You could do Soul Tie.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Soul Tie Pirates. I guess that would work, wouldn't it?
You'd be losing Admiral Beckett Brass.
Yeah, I guess it just depends on like what route for flavor you want to go. Because when it comes to Commander, I'm just so much about like the flavor of things that I get really picky about what I run.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Also, caveat for Standard though, I say you could do Soul Tie in Player, but if you're playing Pirates and you don't have 2 treasures. By the time you get to turn 6, you're playing it wrong.
Sure. So. Go ahead.
I'm good.
All right. So, Brandon, tell us about Huatli.
Huatli.
I hate to think that that's how it's pronounced because I just really have no idea. But
I haven't got a clue either.
Yeah.
So she is a 5-mana planeswalker, 3 red and white for 3 loyalty. Comes in. +2, you gain life equal to the greatest power among creatures you control. Mm-hmm. All right. 0, create a 3/3 green dinosaur creature token with trample. Okay. Then -X, Huatli Warrior Poet deals X damage divided as you choose among any number of target creatures. Creatures dealt damage this way can't block this turn. Tajik all day.
I like this card a lot just because it has like things that you want for a planeswalker. It defends itself.
Right.
It does like. Its +2 can be so good in Dinosaurs.
Mm-hmm.
And then her -X you can use like whenever you need it to.
You can even deal damage to your own dinosaurs.
Oh yeah, activate that enrage. And then also just like, hit your opponents like big blockers that make it so they can't block.
Exactly.
So good.
I feel like, in my opinion though, it's the most underwhelming of the set.
As far as planeswalkers go?
Yes.
I kind of feel like it's just a matter of the application that you plan to use it for. Because it's just strictly Commander.
I'm super excited about it.
Yeah. I'm less excited about Jace, but that's just because I don't really like Jace. So.
Exactly.
Because Vraska has some really big applications in Commander, and the new Jace is trying something new. Mm-hmm. And then you got Hope, who's just, doing what she's doing.
Yeah.
So... But not saying she's a bad planeswalker, I'm just saying she seems like the most underwhelming of the set.
Yeah, okay. I see what you mean. But what about Vana, Butcher of Magan? Apart from looking really cool, is a little underwhelming, personally, for me.
Spot the fangs.
I know it. Now that you say it, I see it everywhere. So for a black and a white and 3, you have a 4/4 Vigilance lifelink, which is cool. And then tap, pay 7 life, destroy target non-land permanent.
So she fits into the what's his name from the Vampire Precon, the bounty hunter.
All of them? I don't know.
Well, no, like for the theme wise.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, I feel like it's a good card. I just don't feel like it's a good card for any format but Commander.
Does this card... So you don't think this has any applications like Blood Baron of Vizkopa had in Standard? If you remember that card.
It has too much of a pay life total.
Yeah, I kind of feel that way too.
To do it, basically, in Commander, that's effectively 1/3 of your life that you're sacking to get rid of one thing.
Yeah, I guess this is just assuming that you have like stuff to gain you life, but still, it's like then that's kind of what you're playing. I have to admit, if I ever make the Mardu Vampire deck, I'm gonna put this card in it, whatever. But I don't know, 7 life is a little steep.
So, are we done with that one now?
Yeah, Beckett Brass is next.
So yeah, this one excites me.
Go for it.
Admiral Beckett Brass is 1 colorless, 1 blue, 1 black, 1 red, aka Grixis. Legendary creature. He's a human pirate. Other pirates you control get +1/+1, so there's the banner effect. At the beginning of your end step, gain control of target non-land permanent controlled by a player who has been dealt combat damage by 3 or more pirates this turn.
So fun. What a fun card.
I just want to say, just because Travis brought it up earlier, otherwise I wasn't going to say anything, but Admiral Beckett Brass is a she.
Yes.
Yes.
Admiral Beckett Brass is a she. What a fun card, though. This is the type of card that I like to see for Commander, just because it's fun. You know what I mean?
Especially when you're making hasty pirates.
That's right. But yeah, I can't wait to see like what people come up with for the pirate deck. I know that Anna likes the idea of playing pirates. I was reading off some of the cards to her, and she's like, "That sounds really fun. I'd play that." I was like, "Oh yeah, I'll make that for you. If you want to play it."
So outside of the fact that it has a banner effect, though, in Standard, I don't think anyone's going to play it for the second half of it because of the fact that you're going to kill everything they control
Right.
besides their lands and Grixis colors.
Yeah.
So she almost seems cuttable in the Standard deck only because of her need for mana and a few other reasons. But
Need for speed. Yeah, I get you though. It's a pretty awkward mana cost to have in Standard.
Just think though, old lady pirate grandma is coming to get you.
That's right. But you know who else is coming to get you?
Sath.
Yeah, Gishoth, Sun's Avatar, which is the card that a lot of people, I imagine, are going to play as their dinosaur commander, unless you have
But not
Grimlock.
you. Exactly.
That's right. I'm going to have dinosaurs riding trains and piloting smugglers' copters. It's going to be amazing.
And,
Yeah.
pirate ships.
So this is a 5, a red, a green, and a white for a 7/6 with trample, vigilance, and haste. That's a good number of keywords and a good combination of keywords to have. And whenever he deals combat damage to a player, reveal that many cards from the top of your library. Put any number of dinosaur creature cards from among them onto the battlefield, and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. This card's so funny. I like this card a lot.
It's so good.
So brutal, dude.
You just play dinosaurs, you win.
How do you feel, Rob?
Well, I really like it.
Okay.
A lot of reasons, including Commander.
Yeah.
However, Standard, we're gonna have to see how quickly people can ramp into it to see whether or not it sees a lot of play.
Gotcha. Okay.
But I have a feeling people are gonna try to force it.
Yeah.
Because it's just a good card.
Yeah.
Rolling into another high cost one though that they want to force, Tishana, Voice of Thunder.
Mm-hmm.
So she's a Merfolk Shaman. She costs 5 colorless, 1 green, and 1 blue. Tishana, Voice of Thunder's power and toughness are equal to the number of cards in your hand. You have no maximum hand size. When Tishana enters the battlefield, draw a card for each creature you control.
I love that.
I so totally put this into Sirach, no problem.
Yeah.
I feel like she's going to be an amazing commander.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
In green blue, you have access to the big ramp. You've got access to some great creatures. And no hand size with, I don't know, Consecrated Sphinx.
Oh yeah, this card reminds me a little bit of Prime Speaker Zagana.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Um,
I'll never forget the
but
time
yeah,
when I built Sirach, and then like a couple of alterations later, I never realized how much card draw that deck had.
Oh yeah,
And then it's, oof.
yeah, but I think they're gonna try to like shove her in standard, and I don't think she's gonna fit.
it seems like
So
she's too expensive.
not only that, but it's equal to the number of cards in your hand. Turn 7, most people don't have that many cards in their hand.
Yeah. But you know who doesn't cost a lot and is going to be played in
Regisaur
standard a lot?
Alpha.
What's Regisaur Alpha, Brandon?
Regisaur Alpha is a 3 colorless and red and green for a dinosaur. He's a 4/4. Other dinosaurs you control have haste, so you got fasty dinosaurs.
Yeah.
When Alpha enters the battlefield, create a 3/3 dinosaur with haste and trample.
Oh my word! Is this the second coming of Thragtusk?
I mean,
The answer is
yeah,
no, but
it's
but still.
in standard that's a really good card because it's a 5-drop 7/7 effectively.
Yeah.
That is a haste banner.
Mhm.
So there are some really good applications for that. That is a really good card.
Yeah. I can't wait.
Hands down.
Can't wait for this card. Awesome.
So, speaking of really good cards, though, are we good to move on?
Hell yeah! Tell us about Hostage Taker.
Yes, this card is going to be a 4 of in my pirate deck.
Oh boy.
2 colorless, 1 blue, 1 black. Sadly, it's only a 2/3, but it's a human pirate, and with other banner effects, it'll make up for itself.
Yeah.
But when Hostage Taker enters the battlefield, exile target artifact or creature until Hostage Taker leaves the battlefield. You may cast that card for as long as it remains exiled, and you may spend mana as though it were any of any type to cast that spell. Imagine you dropping Regisaur Alpha and then me responding by dropping Hostage Taker
Seems
and
good.
casting it back at you.
Jeez. That
There's so much value to be had there.
Mm-hmm.
But the only problem is it's really easy to remove. I think it might be playable in Commander, but it's really easy to remove.
Yeah, I get you. Any thoughts, Brandon?
Nope.
I want to touch really quick on Call to the Feast. Just for 4 mana sorcery to make 3 vampire tokens with lifelink. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And also to say that that the vampires don't have flying is really interesting. And I think it's a flavor thing, just because of the type of vampires that they are. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I like it.
How about Sky Terror? A red and white for a flying menace 2/2.
Are you going to use this, Brandon? Is this card awesome? I don't know. I don't think this makes the cut in my dinosaur deck just because of the fact that it's a 2-drop that has very specific mana cost.
It's got menace, so
I want to jump to Lost Veil, which wants to be Lotus Veil or something like that.
Which?
So
Dowsing Dagger.
Oh, Dowsing Dagger. Okay.
Yes. Sorry, I should have said that.
You're good.
Dowsing Dagger, 2 colorless. When Dowsing Dagger enters the battlefield, target opponent creates 2/0/2 green plant creature tokens with Defender.
Mm-hmm.
Each creature gets +2/+1. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, you may transform Dowsing Dagger. It's equipped 2, and it turns into Lost Veil. Tap, add 3 mana of any 1 color to your mana pool.
It's awesome.
So basically, I feel like it's Gilded Lotus meets like Lotus Veil or something like that. I don't know. But I feel like it's going to see play because of the fact that Strictly Blue, speaking, has many unblockable creatures currently in Standard, and also in general, there's unblockable creatures. Yeah. So with that being said, you got like the 1-drop blue creature that can't be blocked. That's like a 1/2.
Mm-hmm.
Just throw that on it, turn 3 or so, and you get 3 mana tapping lands. So I mean, it's got its purposes.
I just like the flavor of it. How it's like you're kind of like slashing through the foliage, the plant tokens to get to the Lost Veil. It's really cool. I really like that. Fell Flagship, really quick, is a 3 mana 3/3 vehicle. It says pirates you control get +1/+0, and then whenever Fell Flagship deals combat damage to a player, that player discards a card. Cruise for 3. Awesome anthem effect for pirates and hand control if that's your thing.
Okay. So I don't know how I feel about the card. But yeah, I mean, it's not bad. Um, but the next one's really exciting as well for standard, and I have a feeling it's going to be real good in commander just because of what it can
A
do.
thematic
Uh,
compass.
Thematic compass
All
at
right.
2 colors. This one rings in as probably one of my favorites from the set.
All right.
Um, and the reason it's my favorite is because of the flavor text. I want to touch on it really quick. So the front of it says clearly it indicates the aetherized azimuth of dot dot dot. And when you flip it, it says on the other side dot 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 a cryptic objective. Basically, Jay just told us clearly this is something I don't really understand, pointing to something I don't know.
I love that, which is awesome
Like,
because I
can
like
you
seeing Jace not know things.
Yeah, can you make yourself sound any dumber? Now, to what this actually does, though, it says 3 colorless, tap, search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle your library. So it's on a stick, pay 3 mana, and go find a land, basic land.
Yeah.
And then at the beginning of your end step, if you control 7 or more lands, transform it. And then it turns into Spires of Orazka, or Spires of the thing I don't understand.
Right.
And then it taps and adds a colorless to your mana pool, or tap, untap target attacking creature an opponent controls and remove it from combat. Pseudo Maze of Ith, it wants Maze of Ith, but it's not as good as Maze of Ith.
Right.
And the reason I'm going to say that is because it only untaps target attacking creatures an opponent controls.
Right. Right.
While Maze of Ith can hit ones you control too, so you can get an attack and then bring it back so it doesn't die.
Yeah. So, Brandon, tell us about Vanquisher's Banner.
Vanquisher's Banner. It's a 5-mana artifact. As Vanquisher's Banner enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Creatures you control of the chosen type get +1/+1. Whenever you cast a creature spell of the chosen type, draw a card.
We have so many effects like this now that I don't even know which ones to run
Right?
in my tribal decks. I don't even know.
All of them. Play
Oh
all
my
of
God.
them. All of them. You're drawing cards, Travis. What's bad about this?
I know.
It's like your thing.
Treasure Map is one of the most flavorful cards in the set, I think. At 2 mana for an artifact, being able to pay 1, tap, scry 1, put a landmark counter on Treasure Map. And then if there are 3 or more landmark counters on it, remove those counters, transform Treasure Map, and create 3 colorless treasure artifact tokens with tap, sacrifice this artifact, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool, and it transforms into Treasure Cove that taps for a colorless, and then tap, sack a treasure, draw a card. So what this does is it makes it so your treasures draw you cards or provide you mana, and so I think that's really cool.
So you mean they become clues?
Yeah, pretty much.
Did we just skip the on-demand Pithing Needle though?
Yeah, I guess we can go over that real quick, just because it's I don't know, it's not effects that you really see in Commander too much, I don't think. But any thoughts on Treasure Cove or Treasure Map, Brandon?
No, not really.
Okay, so Sorcerer's Spyglass.
Well, one second.
Okay.
There's one application for this though in Commander. Let's say someone plays Krinko and you bounce it to their hand and then play Sorcerer's Spyglass.
Okay, yeah, I could see that.
Like things like that. It's just a good way to deal with some nuisances. But outside of that, yeah, it's just another Pithing Needle.
Yeah. What about Primal Amulet?
Oh yeah, one more thing though on that. Sorcerer's Spyglass, it says look at your opponent's hand, and something a lot of people get confused is they think you have to pick a card from your opponent's hand. It says choose any card name.
Oh,
you
yeah.
can pick.
Interesting. That's pretty cool.
So it is a Pithing Needle.
All right. Brandon, tell us
Now,
about Primal Amulet.
Primal Amulet's a 4-mana artifact. Instant and sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. I'm a fan of this immediately. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, put a charge counter on Primal Amulet. Then, if there are 4 or more charge counters on it, you may remove those counters and transform it. Tap, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. When that mana is spent to cast any instant or sorcery spell, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy.
Awesome.
So
It's
good.
amazing. I do want to point out one thing about this card, though.
Mm-hmm.
How realistic is that picture on the front?
Yeah, like he has the amulet and then it becomes the thing.
Well, no. I
Isn't
mean,
that the
like,
idea?
well, that, but no, like, how all the other ones are a little like cartoony and everything.
Uh-huh.
That card's surprisingly realistic looking.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Well, look at who it's done by.
John Avon. Yeah, there you go. Love John Avon. John Avon is the man. The man with the plan. All right, we're wrapping up real quickly here. Real quick, going to go over Conqueror's Galleon for a 210 vehicle. And then when Conqueror's Galleon attacks, exile at the end of combat, then return it to the battlefield transformed. It crews for 4. And it transforms into Conqueror's Foothold, which has a like trading post sort of effect where you can choose many different effects to do with it.
It's utility land.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Go ahead.
I don't know if I like the card though, because of the fact that it's a 4-drop that you have to crew for 4 and then attack with.
Yeah.
To get it to go off.
Yeah. So, it's just kind of whatever, I guess. We do have reprints with new art of Glacial Fortress, Rootbound Crag, Sun Petal Grove, Drowned Catacomb, and Dragon Skull Summit, and they all look excellent, must say.
Go
ahead.
May I draw attention to the Dragon Skull Summit real quick? That also re-mentions Planeswalker Angrath, which is how we know he's a Planeswalker.
Oh, yeah, awesome. Yeah, that's a good bit of text there.
And he called Swords Dragons.
The last card we're going to be talking about today is Unclaimed Territory. A land that comes into the battlefield tapped, and as it comes into play, choose a creature type. It floats a colorless or one of any color. Spend it to cast creatures of the chosen type. Awesome card.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have Wannabe Wasteland as Field of Ruin.
Yeah,
but
Field of Ruin.
let's not talk about
that. Yeah. But that's going to pretty much do it. This episode really kind of ran long just because there's so many awesome cards in this set. Like, I don't know, usually our spoiler episodes run about an hour and 20 minutes, hour and a half, but boy howdy. I'm going to see what I can do. I'm actually going to see about cutting this episode down a little bit because this is a long episode so far.
Yeah, and I think the fact that we crossed multiple formats for it also lengthened.
Definitely.
Because a lot of these cards have a lot of applications. It made the set super flavorful. So,
2 more cards I want to mention just real quick before we wrap up here are Sentinel Totem, 1 mana, comes into play, scry 1, and then you can tap and exile to exile all cards from all graveyards. Awesome card in Commander. As well as Pillar of Origins, being a 2-mana artifact that comes in, choose a creature type, and you can tap to add 1 mana of any color, only to cast creatures of the chosen type. Good little mana rock there.
And Sentinel Totem may also see play in Legacy due to Dredge. We'll have to see.
Yeah, awesome. But I'm going to just go ahead and put the art for Spell Pierce up here again because it looks so good.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, man, Rob, thank you so much for coming on the show today. We really are happy to have you. It's really awesome to have a guest host. We haven't had a guest host in a long time. So thanks for coming on. And we will look forward to maybe hearing from you again in the future or something. Maybe a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Oh, something as far as Angrath goes, Hijack has Angrath on it. He's on.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's some really cool art. Even though the card is just kind of whatever, it's like your gain control target artifact or creature till end of turn. Yeah, the artwork is really cool.
I'm so excited to see Angrath. Just
Me too.
like his and whip and all that. I'm want to know what he does.
Yeah, super cool. But once again, thank you, Rob. Everyone, give Rob a like, comment, and subscribe. And by that I mean like, comment, subscribe to our channel. For Rob being on the show. I don't know what I'm saying right now. Check us out on social media, on YouTube, on Facebook, and just let us know how you feel. We love the feedback. We love to hear from you guys. Let us know what cards we didn't talk about that you think are really cool from this set. Let us know the cool interactions that you've thought of so far. Are you guys excited? What tribe are you most excited for that's coming out of this set? Anything you really want to say, just let us know. But I think for now, it's going to be Travis and Brandon and Rob returning to the command zone.
I don't know what casual banter is.
It's getting better.
Oh, oh, oh.
Got him. All right.